When it's hard, when it's difficult, do you rise to the occasion? Or do you let yourself off again, finding some really logical reason why you can't do that thing? Everything in your life changes when you learn to tie your self-worth to your effort instead of the results. If you want to go to Mars, you're competing against Elon Musk, who would die to go to Mars. You better absolutely love it or he's going to crush you.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 and 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 and 9. This one's for my top 10.
Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey there, it's Mark Drager, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that's holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside of you as well. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So get ready to focus on the efforts, not the results, find your drive, and do difficult things. With my guy, Evan Carmichael, and our take on his top 10 rules to success. To give you the confidence, the motivation, and the belief that you need to succeed. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule #1, focus on the efforts, not the results.
Everything in your life changes when you learn to tie your self-worth to your effort instead of the results. Most people tie their self-worth to the results, to winning. You only feel good about yourself when you win. If that's how you think, then you're screwed. Because that person only takes on projects that you know you have a pretty high chance of winning at. And therefore you play small for life. The key is to tie your self-worth to the effort, to trying. And if you do that well, you'll win beyond your wildest imaginations. So let's use me as an example. Look at this video right here, this video. 2 minutes before getting on and making this video, I'm nervous. I'm scared. I don't want to do it. I'm trying to find a reason why I don't have to do this video. Now why? I've done 6,000 of these videos. Do I not love it anymore? Nope, that's not it. I love doing it. So why am I afraid? Who cares? I've done 6,000. The answer is because I don't want to make it the same way that I've done the past 6,000. I want to push harder. I want to push and do something new. If I was just doing what I've already done, then it'd be easy. Right? If you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, it becomes easy, but then you get bored. You start to hate your life. You start realizing that everything is just a photocopy over and over and over and over and over again. And so, how do I push through? I put this pressure on myself to say this video right now has to be the best video that I've ever made. That's my intention going in to every time I'm filming. Most days I don't accomplish it. When you're trying something new and scary and bigger and bolder, most of the time you won't get it. You fail a lot. But I tie my self-worth, my respect, to the effort. I'm trying. And every now and then, you'll make a bit of a breakthrough. You get a bit of a win. And then those accumulate. And then you get another one, and another win, and another win. And so the answer isn't have a big goal and then find a reason why you can't do it. The answer isn't dream big and then convince yourself of some logical excuse for why you're not going to take action. The answer is to push through. The answer is you're scared and you're going to do it anyway. The answer for me is I'm going to make another video. I'm going to try and push myself harder. And I think that's what achievers do, because achievers are failing more than you. Because most days I get up and fail. Most days I'm just failing. It's another failure, another failure, another failure. But the more you fail, the more you're eventually going to win. I'm going to get massive results. Because you tie your self-worth to your ability to get up and try again, and try again, and try again, and pat yourself on the back for the effort you're putting in, not just when you're winning.
Rule #2, find your drive.
Most people quit on things because they don't have a powerful mission or they don't know where their drive comes from. Chasing an opportunity isn't enough because you're going up against people who love that thing, who might be willing to die for that thing. If you want to go to Mars, you're competing against Elon Musk, who would die to go to Mars. You better absolutely love it or he's going to crush you. You need to find the thing that you love that does not feel like work. Otherwise, you'll end up working your entire life and hating it. So every Thursday when I'm in Toronto, I do this free event for Toronto entrepreneurs at my dance studio, Toronto Dance Salsa, 5 to 6 p.m. Thursdays when I'm in the city. I do a free event, Q&A session for an hour. Come out, meet me, talk, let's hang out, however I can help, give back to the community and help local entrepreneurs. My Thursdays are bonkers. My Thursdays are all day long interviews, hangouts, podcasts, Skype sessions, one-on-ones. My assistant books them in 25-minute chunks, and I have 25 minutes on, 5-minute break in between. Usually I use that break to get set up for the next one. 25 minutes, 5, 25, 5, 25, 5, the whole day long. And then I end up going to the studio, I record my podcast with Mark Drager. I then do 2 30-minute one-on-ones that we film for the YouTube channel. And then after all of that, I do a 1-hour Q&A for the entrepreneur community. And then after that, I'm doing more meetings with my team. It's crazy. And somebody asked me last Thursday, how do you have the energy for all of that stuff? I love it. Like, I love being there with the people. That group session is the best for me. I love it. I'm not getting paid for it. It's free. It's probably not a great use of my time. If I had to pick for 1 hour, what's the best use of my time? Hang out with startup entrepreneurs, ask me their questions, or do something like write my book or make my next course or something else. It probably doesn't make the most sense, but I love it. And so therefore it makes the most sense, right? And for other people, jumping into my schedule might be torture, and it should be. For me to jump into your schedule should be torture. I should look at your calendar and say, that's ridiculous. How do you have so much energy for all that stuff? And when you jump into mine, it should look the exact same. For me, when I gear up for a Thursday, as an example, when I put my extrovert hat on, I gain energy as the day goes on. I'm not losing energy. By the time I hit 5 o'clock and I'm doing the group session with people, I'm carrying the energy of all the entrepreneurs that I've met on my 25-minute one-on-ones throughout the entire day. I love it. I gain more steam, but most things, ask me to do almost anything else for 8, 10, 12, 14 hours, I would hate my life. Ask me to make coffee for 10 hours a day, I would hate my life. Ask me to play piano, ask me to do almost anything for that amount of time, I would hate my life because it feels like work. And so you have to find the thing that does not feel like work. So then when you go off and do it, it actually gives you energy. So paying attention to the energy, if at the end of every day you're like, oh, this sucks. Like, that's a good signal that you're doing the wrong thing, because you have Michael Jordan level talent at something. You are a genius. You should be crushing it at something. And if the work that you're doing is draining your energy, the people around you are draining your energy, chances are you're in the wrong spot. You're hanging with the wrong people. You're doing the wrong kind of work.
Rule number 3, do difficult things.
Self-esteem comes from doing difficult things. You set a goal, you said you'd start doing something, and maybe even you do actually start doing that thing. But then you hit a roadblock. Then it gets difficult, it gets hard, and what you do in that moment will define the rest of your life. When it's hard, when it's difficult, do you rise to the occasion? Or do you let yourself off again, finding some really logical reason why you can't do that thing? It doesn't count until it's hard. You don't grow until it's hard. You don't build self-respect, self-esteem, self-confidence until it's hard and you follow through. I keep these in my office as a reminder of who I am in my best moments, my best self, to push me to do more and to push harder. What are these? If you're new to my channel, welcome, I'm Evan. I went on a tour at the beginning of this year. I did a tour, 23 cities, 90 days, and 2/3 of the way through, with a month left, I broke my neck. When I was in Denver, I fainted, I fell out of a chair, I hit my head against a wall, cracked the back of my head open, I had 3 staples on my head, I had a concussion, and I broke my neck in 2 spots. And after that night, I had to wear this. I had to wear this for the next, I just noticed this note here. Nina signed it. I love you. Get well soon, Nina. She signed it. That's sweet. Aw, gotta go thank her. Anyway, had a little emotional moment there. I broke my neck and I decided to keep going on my tour. I had a month left. Everybody was telling me to go home. My agent told me to go home. My friends, my family said, come home, get the healthcare you need, relax, stay in bed, rest, you need to recover. And I said, being with entrepreneurs is my recovery. And pushing through and doing this tour is my healing. 1, physical healing, because just sitting on the bed all day is not gonna be, for someone like me, something that's amazing. But 2, just pushing through and knowing that I can, right? It doesn't count until it's hard. It doesn't count until it's difficult, and then you get up and you do it. And so if you've seen any of the videos or pictures of me at the events, I went from standing up and moving around and having energy to then I had to sit at the front of a room with pillows behind me and an ice pack on my shoulder blade for 3.5, 4 hours in massive pain the whole time, answering questions and doing my workshop. And I was so proud of myself for doing it. That's how I built my self-esteem, by getting up and doing it, by showing up. And it inspired the people who came out. They're saying, well, I lived 25 minutes away, didn't know if I wanted to make the drive, commit to it, I was kind of tired. And then I saw you with your broken neck still showing up, so I had to show up too, right? But that's not why I did it. I did it for me, I did it for myself. I had to wear this all day, all night long. This was my first one, and then it started to break, so Nina put some duct tape on it here. And then this was my second one that once it started to really wind down, I couldn't wear it anymore. I went for this one. And 10 minutes a day is all I could do to take it off for a shower. So I had to sleep in this. I had to do my workshop in this, everything. 23 hours and 50 minutes a day, except for a 10-minute break in the shower where I took it off and was paranoid about moving anything because my neck was broken. I had to keep it stabilized. I wore these. This reminds me of how strong I am.
Rule number 4, alter your environment.
Your environment has been perfectly designed to keep you exactly where you are. The people you hang with, the videos you watch, the media you consume, all of it are perfectly designed to keep you exactly where you are right now today. If you want to raise your standards, it starts by raising your environment first. So a friend of mine and friend of the channel, Mark Drager from Fanta, gave me a really warm message yesterday, and he thanked me for helping start the process for him to turn from being a pessimist to an optimist, from being somebody who was always worried and negative to somebody who's having more energy, who's seeing the light, who's becoming more optimistic, who still has a road to go, but is so far further along than where he was before. And he wrote to me to say, thank you for starting me down this path. He said there was one conversation in particular that had special meaning to him, where I told him that I just really believed in him, that I saw a lot of the people around him, I saw a lot of his peers, and I just thought that he had so much more potential than where he was. And I think maybe for the first time he had an extra bolt of belief pushed into him, which is what I do, which is what I'm great at, which is what I enjoy doing. Fast forward to now, 6 months, 8 months later, he's made major gains in his life. He's brought on new team members. He's now consuming other content that is positive and optimistic. He's changing his business around. He's investing more in himself. He's happier. He's lost a lot of weight. He's growing. He's wanting to strengthen his relationships. He's just seen a big shift in his life by trying to move more into optimism instead of pessimism. And so it started with my conversation with him. He then promoted somebody within his organization to become COO, whose name was Louis, and he's also a massive force for good and positivity. He started consuming Gary's content, which is positivity. He started consuming Tom Bilyeu's content, which is positivity. He started now injecting all these people and resources into his life to make him feel more positive, more optimistic, more happy, give him more energy so that he has that to go take on his goals and the challenges out in front of him. And slowly move that needle from being a pessimist to an optimist. I don't think people are pessimists, to be honest. I think everybody is born an optimist. I don't think people are born negative. I think that's trained into you. I think you're a pessimist and negative because of the circumstances you had and what was planted in your brain by the people around you. I think people are good. I think humans are just good. I think if we weren't good, we wouldn't be here anymore. 99.99999% of people are good. Right? Some people have a little bit of a miswiring up there and it causes them to enjoy killing people, but for the most part, we're good. I also believe that people are built to serve. I believe that you get happiness from helping others, by being of service to others. That's what actually makes you happy. There aren't very many happy moments in your life that didn't involve somebody else. You were helping, you were serving. They've shown the effect on your brain of serving and helping somebody is the same as food and sex. We're literally hardwired to help others and to serve. And so if you believe, like I believe, that humans are good and humans are built to serve, then what would cause somebody to be pessimistic and negative? How sad of an upbringing does that person have to have had? the programming that was installed inside them by other people who just were negative and down on their life, but weren't inherently bad people. The people who stole from my car in LA, the guy who cut me off in traffic yesterday, I don't think they're bad people. I still think they're good people who are built to serve. Just circumstances and conditioning have led them down a negative path. And so the good news is you can get out of it, just like my friend Mark has, who was someone who was sworn to say, I'm a pessimist, right? I just default to negativity, to now seeing the shift by changing the people he surrounded himself with, by altering his environment, by consuming content that is more positive. He's already seen a noticeable shift over the past X number of months, and that's going to continue to grow. That could be you too.
Also, if you want more confidence and motivation daily, check out the Confidence 254 series. It's free, and the link is in the description below.
The people who win work the hardest because they love what they do.
Create an outline and a schedule. What I found really helpful for me was to create an outline at the start.
If you're doing work that you love, you're more likely to follow through. You're more likely to do it because it doesn't feel like work, because you love doing it.
Rule number 5, you have to believe.
Your biggest problem is a lack of belief. The only thing that's holding you back, holding me back, holding your friends and family back is a lack of belief. It is the world's biggest problem, and that's why I created these YouTube channels. I've seen the impact, not just on the people around me, but myself, firsthand, the value of having my own channel. In the work that I do, I make it selfishly for myself so that I learn, that I get better, that I grow, that I challenge myself. And it's often hard to see it on a day-to-day basis. You may not feel a lot more confident, have a lot more belief from one day to the next. You might have some big win, you might take on some big challenge, and then you feel good about yourself, but then you fall back down the next day. And you don't see that that's actually a win, because the win that you had was so small. The growth that you had was so tiny that on a day-to-day basis, you can't see it. That's the problem. But if you consistently are doing the things like watching this channel or consuming a podcast or reading a book or hanging around people who are better than you, who have more belief than you, who are growing and pushing, that inspire you, if you're around that every single day, and you look back on your life, you look back in the past X number of months, you'll see how much you've grown. You just will. I've seen it in my own business. Go back and look at my old content. I started a new series on my other channel where it's old Evan versus new Evan. And the first video we did was 2016 Evan versus 2019 Evan. And what do you think? And you may not see that big a difference in me from last week's video to this week's video, or yesterday's Espresso to today's Espresso. But when you go back 3 years, see, it doesn't even look like the same person. Go back 10 years, go back and watch my first videos. Go back and watch the first videos. The content was still good, the message was still good, but the delivery, the execution sucked because I didn't know what I was doing, because I didn't have a lot of belief. And I'm still trying to chase the next level. You know, I've grown in belief, but I'm never done. The thing that's holding me back, it's still belief. It's belief in the ability to get to the next step. Because as you expand your comfort zone, there's still other things that are outside your comfort zone. You don't want to ever get to the point where you're not growing, where there's not something outside your comfort zone. But then everything inside becomes easy. Right? What used to scare you now is super easy. Now isn't a problem anymore.
Rule number 6, make sacrifices.
There will be moments in your business where you will need to have superhuman strength to keep going, where it just demands everything from you, every single ounce that you have. But if you need to have superhuman energy every single day, you're gonna burn out and fail. So whenever I wanna try something new, when I'm testing something new, I always eat into some of my reserves. It may mean to go off into this new project, I'm gonna sleep less or spend a little bit less time working on my book or a little less time working on my YouTube channel, right? You eat into these reserves, but that's not sustainable. If that's what you're doing constantly, you're gonna be unhappy, you're gonna burn out, you're gonna fail. So quick example, Sadhguru came to Toronto. Sadhguru, if you don't know, he's a yogi, he's an Indian mystic. We did a top 10 on him. He then invited me to come to his event in Toronto and then do a one-on-one interview with him close to the Toronto airport, the island. It was amazing, great time. Out of that, he says, Evan, I want you to come to my multi-day event in the US. I want you to come, be a VIP guest there. It'd be amazing to have you. Awesome. But before you do that, you have to do my 7-day program where you have to meditate every day for 7 days. And I think it's an hour plus every day. I didn't have an hour a day. Right? I mean, that's not part of what I had in my calendar. every hour in my calendar is accounted for. It doesn't mean I'm working all that time, but I might be spending time with my wife. I might be spending time with my son. Every hour is accounted for. And so to do this, I had to eat into some of my reserves. And so for that one, I asked Nina, I said, Nina, if you're gonna come with me, you have to do this too. Do we want to spend our hour in the evening, instead of watching a show, instead of relaxing, to do this program for 7 days for meditation? And she said yes. And so here's the thing. We did it for 7 days and we went to the event. It was awesome. If it was something that we were going to continue, if we were going to meditate every day for an hour ongoing, then I'd have to readjust my schedule. Your success comes from your habits. You need to figure out what a balanced life looks like for you. Now, ultimately, I don't meditate an hour every night. I do some healing meditation for my neck every morning, but that habit didn't stick, and that's okay. So when you're testing new habits, testing new ideas, testing something for your business, or some emergency comes up that you have to deal with, it's gonna tap into your reserves. You can't be running your business at full capacity already. You can't be running your business on zero, on empty, because that means there's no extra gear. That means that when life punches you in the face, you can't handle it. That means if you want to try or taste or test something else, you can't do it because you have no reserves, you have no battery, there's no more gas in the tank. And so that's where a lot of entrepreneurs live. That's where it's really troublesome. That's where a lot of entrepreneurs will end up burning out, failing, and crushing their dreams, because you're just running with no gas left in the tank. And so you can stretch yourself. I think that's normal. I think that's okay. I think life will hit you in the face. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, here comes another punch. That will happen. But it's making sure that you can live that balanced life, whatever balance looks like for you.
Rule number 7, you have to hold yourself accountable.
You need people in your life to hold you accountable, because you will never push yourself as hard as you can go. You get a personal trainer not because of what exercises you should do. You can look that up online. The real value of a trainer is to have somebody right there in front of you, in your face, telling you to do 3 more reps of that exercise when you want to quit. When you're gonna tap out, and if you were by yourself, you'd say, I'm done, and they say, give me 3 more, because all of the growth happens in that last set. If there's nobody around you to hold you to a higher standard, you'll always know that there's another level, but you'll be too afraid to reach for it yourself. So let's use me as an example. I want to solve the world's biggest problem. I don't think people believe in themselves enough. It's why I created this channel and all the other ones I have, and the books and the speaking and everything I do. I want to go out and do this impossible thing that's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna solve the world's biggest problem, and yet I wake up every day and I try to do it. And I use a combination of what I call aspirational mentors, which are people like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and the people that I profile on this channel. And then I also do it from people who challenge me one-on-one. If you watch my Entrepreneur Advice channel, I get pushed every week by my agent Steve, by psychologists in Australia, by people who are coaching me on how to get better. And they push me and they tell me I need to do more. And they tell me I'm being an idiot in these areas. And like, go, this is the homework. And the more uncomfortable I feel during that process, usually the better the advice is. If I think about the tour that I launched last year, and now the tour that I'm doing this year, it started as a free tour and became a paid tour when my agent Steve pushed me to do it. Like, you need to charge for this. And immediately my heart's booming. Boom, 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 boom. I'm scared. It means I have to do it. Having people around you who can push you to do the things that you need to do, who make you nervous, who make you scared, who see your blind spots, who cut through your BS, who tell you that's just fear talking, because we'll come up with really logical reasons why we can't do something. Or aspirational mentors who, when you see how they react to things, how they see things, how they understand the world, and then you look at what you're doing, it forces you to be pulled up. It forces you to take the next step up on the staircase. You need to do it, because your environment's been perfectly designed to keep you where you are. Your friends, your family, all of it. It's keeping you exactly where you are. And the difference between where you are now and where you want to be and where you can be in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years is going to be the people you have around you and how much they're willing to push you, to believe in you, to tell you what you may not want to hear, but you need to hear to grow, to challenge yourself and get to the next level.
Rule number 8, own your dreams.
When did you decide that your dreams shouldn't be big? When did you decide that you shouldn't tell anyone else about your dreams? Until you own your dreams and stop making yourself feel small, those dreams will never happen. Never. Now, this is something everybody struggles with. Everybody, myself, Mel, everybody. We're worried about playing a bigger game. We're worried about thinking bigger for ourselves, and we're worried about telling other people because what if it doesn't work out? What if we don't make it? What's that judgment gonna come? How are they gonna think about us? And so I think about my own story, what I'm trying to create. The biggest fight that I used to get into with my agent, Steve, was he says, Evan, you need to be a household name. You need to be famous. Like, Steve, I don't wanna be famous. I equated famous to ego. If you're famous and you're this big egomaniac, I don't want to be an egomaniac. It's not about me. It's about spreading belief. I'm nervous getting in front of the camera. Even before filming this video, I'm nervous. Like I wanted to do well. The lights come on. I don't crave it. I don't crave attention. I'm an introvert. I like just doing my thing. Evan, you need to get famous. Why, Steve? Why do I need to get famous? And for maybe 2 years, we fought over this. Because I kept equating fame with ego, and I looked at the people who were famous and like, I don't want to be like them. And there's a lot that they did that bothered me, and I wanted to do it a different way. And that's the key. It's finding the different way to do it. How does an introvert on a mission become famous? I don't know. We're gonna go on this journey together and hopefully find out. What finally clicked for me was him saying, when you get famous, your mission will spread. If you start tying actions to mission, that's how you get me to move. For other people, it might be, hey, I'll give you all this money if you do this, or you'll have the fame or credibility or have statues built. I don't need statues built of me. But as soon as you tie it to mission and service, that gets me going. So he said, if you actually want to fulfill your mission, if you say you want to spread belief, then you need to get famous. Because the more people know about you, the more people will hear your message. And it finally stuck. Like, okay, I gotta do it. I don't know how to do it. I've never tried to do it. I've always wanted to be behind the spotlight. And so now this is part of my mission. I need to become a household name and get famous so that more people can believe in themselves. If I actually want to solve the world's biggest problem, then I need to be out there doing it. I need to believe in myself more. Right? If I'm trying to spread belief, I need to believe in myself more too. And so I think that's a human condition. That's part of what we want to do. You want to step outside your comfort zone. You want to serve. Humans are built to serve. We are built to serve. But service requires helping other people. And because we're afraid of judgment, you don't want to do it. So you've got your foot in the gas and the brake at the same time. You want to help people, but you're worried about their judgment. So you don't do anything. You know you're capable of more. But you don't do it because you're afraid.
Rule number 9, you have to kick yourself forward.
Comparing yourself to other people can be a fantastic thing. But there's only one way to make it work. You have to kick yourself forward, not down. You kick yourself forward, not down. Most people, here's what they do. Most people, you see somebody who's had success, you see somebody with the Ferrari or the car, or somebody who you're jealous of, or you're insecure about yourself when you're around them. You see them and you think you suck. You look at them and say, I suck. Why am I not further ahead? Why is Dan, who's not even 40 years old yet, have all of this success, and here I am and I'm not doing it yet? Right? You kick yourself down. That's how most people do it. And in public, you might tell your friends, oh, that person's a scumbag. He stole, he's ripping people off, he's a jerk. But when you go home, you just tell yourself, man, why am I not further ahead? Why am I here? Why am I stuck? Why am I not getting more momentum? You've been kicked, but you've been kicked down. Where what you want to do is kick yourself forward. You want to kick yourself forward. If you see Dan driving his Ferrari, or you see somebody that you look up to and respect, use it as a kick forward to say, this is what's possible. This is what's possible. And if he can do it, if she can do it, then I can do it too. My hero is young Les Brown. I love him from a speaker, just my favorite speaker of all time. I look at that and I say, I can get better. Not that I suck, it's that this is what's possible. I need to get better, I need to improve, I need to practice, I need to keep going, because that's what's possible.
And rule number 10, the last one before our very special bonus tip, never give up.
Paul Newman, the legendary actor, had an amazing quote that I love to repeat. He said, I check my pulse, and if I can find it, I know I've got a chance. You've got a very important choice to make. You either make the rest of your life the best of your life, or you settle for what is and live in your excuses. So you know why I would give up? You know what I'm deeply afraid of? I've got two. I've got a short-term fear and a long-term fear. My short-term fear is of disappointing people. My biggest short-term in-the-moment fear is disappointing people. That I would show up to an event and let people down, that I wouldn't give them value, that people would come and waste their time, spend their money, and I didn't give them value. I'm deeply afraid of it, and still am. I put pressure on these videos. I want these videos to be great. Every time I get in front of this camera and start making a video, I put pressure on myself that this needs to be the best video that I've ever done. I want to not disappoint you guys every single time. And there's this little pause, hesitation before filming, and I'll spend a couple minutes procrastinating because I'm afraid. I'm afraid of disappointing you and making a crappy video. I'll procrastinate and then I'll do it. And I'll feel great doing it. But my biggest short-term fear is disappointing people. My biggest long-term fear is of regret, is that I won't live my life, is that I'll look back and say, I could have done more. I should have pushed harder. Because you rarely regret the things that you did, it's the things that you didn't do, the things you were too afraid to do, the actions not taken. That's what you normally regret. And so my biggest short-term fear is disappointing people. My biggest long-term fear is fear of regret. And those things, they fight each other. Right? They fight each other because if I'm afraid of disappointing somebody, I'm not going to take the action that I should be taking, and then I'm going to regret it later on. And so I try to use that fear of potential regret to push me into action. To say, if I don't make videos today, if I don't do that speech, if I don't get up and make that presentation, if I don't do the thing that I'm afraid to do because of disappointing people potentially, then I'll regret it. And I'll put the pressure like, this is the video. This video right here, this is the video that's gonna blow up everything, that'll change the whole game for me. And if I don't record it because I'm afraid of disappointing somebody, I'm gonna regret that my whole life. And I make it so painful for myself that then I have to act. And that pain pushes me into action and out of procrastination mode.
I have a special bonus clip that I pulled of Evan on how to achieve greatness. But before we do that, now is time for the 3-point landing questions. Time to go from just watching this video to taking action. So here we go. Question number 1, what's the one thing you're gonna do today that makes yourself proud? Question number 2, what is one difficult thing that you are going to do this week? And number 3, what's the sacrifice that you need to make because you know it's holding you back?
Your job is to make me think like you think. You're a thought leader. You're a weird duck. You're different. When you open YouTube, you watch different videos than most of the world watches. You see the world differently. And if you want to be a success in business, you need to show other people how to think like you think. So I have a 3-day program that I put together in Toronto twice a year called the Thought Leadership Academy, where I take 15 people from around the world, and for 3 days they work with me and my team to become thought leaders, to take the things that are in your head and turn it into something that can have an impact. Because I believe your purpose comes from your pain, right? Whatever you went through, whatever you suffered with, helping other people not have to suffer as much as you suffer will be the thing that fills you up for life. Now, amazing. How do you actually help people do it? Well, how did you get out of it, right? I have a who, why, how process, right? How did you get out of it? Because how you got out of it, even if you're not done, even if you're not finished growing, how you got out of it, how you saved yourself from that pain is a recipe for other people. So a lot of times people come to me, come into the Thought Leadership Academy, and they're saying, well, there's people like Tony Robbins and Ed Mylett and all these people doing great things. Who am I to go off and have a voice? Who am I to sell the dream? Who am I to have a big vision when all these great people are doing it? Imposter syndrome is real. Even me, I have days where I look at these videos and I look at Les Brown and he's my hero, and I look at how I'm doing it and I don't measure up. Like I'm nothing compared to Les Brown. Young Les Brown, at least. He's my hero from a speaker. But does that mean I shouldn't do it? Does that mean I should stop making videos? 300 million people have watched my content, right? And so if that's you, if you're afraid to sell the dream, if you're afraid of imposter syndrome, if you're afraid to get the ideas out of your head and out into the world because we need you, because you can serve people. The best thing that I found is imagine you're talking to the person who you were 5 years ago. You may not be Ed Mylett level yet. You may not be maxing out as much as you can yet, but you can help the person who you were 5 years ago. And there's a lot of people who are currently like who you were 5 years ago. They're struggling, they're in pain. And so my big dream, I want to solve the world's biggest problem, a lack of belief. I talked about it at the top of this episode, right? I think every That's what you need to find and go all in at. And so I try to share that as much as possible. And that's why people come and watch these videos. Why do you watch this video? I said at the top, because you know there's something greater inside you. You know you're capable of more. You know that this version of your life is not the final version, and you're trying to grow and learn, and you're hungry to get better, to educate yourself, to inspire yourself, to motivate yourself, to go off and take these crazy ideas that you've got that nobody else believes in, that people think you're nuts for, and unleash them into the world because you want to serve, because you want to give value, because you want to help, because you know you're capable of it, right?
If you want 10 more rules from Evan, check out the video right over here. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and we will see you there.
One of the biggest reasons why you are not more successful is you're just not consistently working hard enough at it. Most people don't fail enough. Most people are so afraid